So let's jump right into one of the first sections, which is MAM compliance and conditional access. Through the Zero Trust workshop, we're going to take you to a different step. I know this is not the first step that you see in the spreadsheet, but to me, it's one of the first steps that we should really sit down for a minute and talk a little bit about conditional access, the compliance, and how through conditional access, we make sure that your device and your identity is protected. So inside the conditional access policy, one of the main goals of it is to ensure that that identity, as they authenticate to your environment, is who they say they are, right? And we can validate it through multi-factor authentication or others. But there's also a way to ensure that that conditional access apply to the Intune app protection policies. And when you review your policy, in the past, we had a section called the client apps. Client apps was very successful. We're going to deprecate the client apps. Therefore, it's super important for us to think about each of this conditional access policy in the required app protection policy. So as the identity is being authenticated on the environment, you launch that application, conditional access is going to validate that, but it's also going to validate that that app protection policy has been downloaded effectively to that application. And what may happen at the end user level is that the end user is going to see a screen saying that their data is now being protected by the company. And he may ask that application to be restarted. That application is going to restart, and the next time it launches, it goes through the same process of validating the conditional access policy. And now this time is going to let them go through without any problem, because now the Intune app protection policy has arrived into that mobile application. So this is a step is super important for us to validate from the conditional access perspective. This can enhance the overall security of that application and that identity. We're going to now enforce and guarantee that the data is protected starting from the conditional access level. I know this is a little bit more disrupting if you think about it, because now we're enforcing and making sure that that app protection policy is in place, and then your end users are actually using each of those app protection policies. But you also provide a little bit more flexibility to those users as well, because it's not going to create a big impact. Instead of an impact, he's going to receive a series of benefits from both the corporate side and the security side. The entire security is going to be improved and is going to guarantee that those end users are, as they access the different first-party applications or LOB applications, that application is protected starting from the conditional access. And this becomes a super important step to do. You're going to validate the different requirements and the different compliance. You want to make sure that that device is in compliance, but also is in compliance with the app protection policy. So I know it's a very interesting topic. I know it's a very short topic as well, but conditional access is super important for your environment. So our take here as part of the Zero Trust workshop, our take is review your conditional access policies. But as part of that review those conditional access policies that apply to the applications. Maybe you want to set up for the help desk. Maybe you want to set it up for your BYOD users. But maybe you also want to guarantee that those executives or those important users are super important. And later on, I'm going to take you in a deep dive of the data protection framework that is playing the different levels. But again, conditional access is the first place where you're going to start. You're going to review them, you're going to analyze them, and you're going to make sure that app protection policy is in place and is actually being enforced. This becomes another super important step in the process of the Zero Trust workshop.